Yo, what's going on, YouTube? And welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and we are taking a look today at the latest on the Minnesota Wild and Kevin Fiala. Is there going to be a contract extension? We'll be taking a look at that today. So, there's been a lot of drama between Kevin Fiala and the Minnesota Wild. We remember just last summer, in the summer of 2022, there was a lot of debate on whether Fiala would sign with the Wild or not. They ended up signing and agreeing on a one-year contract, and there was no real stability in that. And I think that the Wild and Fiala knew that it was kind of just pressing the issue to this year. And the thing is, Kevin Fiala now has put up good numbers for a while now. So the problem is, last year you could have said, all right, well, is he just this good? And we're betting on him, or do we give him another year to maybe, regress a little bit and he gets a more fair number? But the problem is when you do that, you also run the risk of him having another good season, like we're seeing right now, to the point where he's going to get paid more and longer term. So that's the problem that you're seeing right now with the Wild. Bill Garen tried expecting, maybe wanted to see more from Fiala. And now Fiala's probably going to get the number he wants. And if anything, he might even ask for more this summer. So you look at Elliot Friedman. This is the first report we've got. There haven't been any contract talks between pending restricted free agent Kevin Fiala and the Minnesota Wild. This is also on Bill Garen on re-signing Jordan Greenway earlier. I don't want things to wait until the summer. We want to get guys slotted. I like our group, and I'm very hesitant to break it up. He did add there are no contract negotiations with Kevin Fiala, who is arbitration eligible, and that's the other thing we'll get to. He was not last year. Actually, no, he was eligible, but they got it done before the arbiter came involved. So this is from the instigators, from Darren Drager. Bill Garen has been looking for a depth center for quite some time, going to try to add a center. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to bolster his blue line. I look to Billy G to be a player in the trade market, and we'll get to that in a second, but just keep these things in the back of your mind. So that is the latest on Fiala. So what does that last bit of news have to do with Kevin Fiala? Well, it may mean a significant amount here. So if the Wild were to say, right, they don't want to wait till the summer. Billy Garen doesn't want to wait till the summer to get these contract situations done. He's arbitration eligible. What do the Wild do? Now, chances are there's three options. The first one is probably the most catastrophic. The first one being you go through the rest of the season unsigned, right? He goes against what Bill Garen was saying he wanted to do, and they go to arbitration and they end up hating each other that much more. We've seen so many times where guys go to arb and they end up hating their team. It's basically the player defending why he should get paid the amount that he wants, and you have the team basically ripping the player apart in order to lower the salary from the arbiters. So it is a disgusting spot. So ideally you avoid number one. Number two, you sign him. You sign him to a contract extension, preferably before the trade deadline, right? You would expect. And you just lock him up, and you don't worry about the summer. You don't have to worry about anything like that. You fix some of you've got your guys signed. Now you worry about next year and adding to what you've already got. And then there's three. And three is trade. Now the reason I think this one is probably it's the least likely, is the Wild are good right now. And the way Bill Garen was saying, he doesn't want to break up the chemistry in the locker room. He's going to break the chemistry in the lines. There's a lot on the line here if you moved Kevin Fiala. Now, if there was a situation where they were to add a defenseman or a center coming back the other way, is Bill Garen willing to make that move then? And that's where I think there is reason to believe Kevin Fiala could be traded. I don't think it's the most likely. Like I said, it's kind of pushing the issue down the road if you wait till the summer. But there's definitely reason to believe that that could be on the table. And even if it's not on the table at the deadline, you wonder if during the summer, maybe there's a team that they can make that deal with. So that is something that, in a sign-in trade, of course. So that is something that I would look at. And Kevin Fiala, 25-year-old, forward. He was drafted 11th overall in the 2014 draft. He's been playing in the NHL for the Nashville Predators since 2014. He was there for 5 seasons and has now been in Minnesota. This will be his 4th season with the Wild. His numbers are impressive. I mean, you look at what he's done: 48 points in 80 games with the Predators. That was his high through an 80-game schedule. Last season, 43 points in 40 points in 50 games. So, 20 goals, 20 assists, not too bad in 50 games. And this season, he's already got 14 goals, 22 assists. He's already got 36 points in less than 50 games. He's already got that in 43 games. So in the next 7 games, he's probably going to beat his totals from last season. He's going to do even better this year. And this was the problem. This was part of that issue, that if Bill Garen was going to take that bet, he could be paying him more money. And you look at his contract right now. He had, last year he was coming off of a $3 million contract. And this year he signed a $5.1 million 1-year deal. You have to expect he's going to be looking for anywhere between 6.5 to maybe even close to 7.5. I mean, that is how much Kevin Fiala has really raised his value. And unfortunately for the Wild, it may mean Fiala's not in the long-term picture. But this is something that definitely is going to be discussed going into the trade deadline. The Wild have the money. They can do it. Yet again, you just had the Kaprizov contract. You just signed Jordan Greenway. So it's kind of strapping them just a little bit. With that, due to the team buying out on Ryan Suter and Parise last season, they are going to have a cap hit penalty of $12.7 million this year, right? So they got the relief last season, but this year they're going to take it hard. They're going to take a big one on the chin. Then it will jump up to $14.7 million in the following 2 years. Therefore, General Manager Bill Garen will have to get creative to find a way to keep Fiala around. That's the problem. That's where they don't have the money. They're allocating their money to these buyouts, and that's why a lot of Wild fans were not thrilled last summer with everything. And I know that as many Wild fans that were excited about Garen coming in and some of the moves he was making, there were plenty of Wild fans that were the doom side of things. And looking at what we're seeing right now, seeing the doom scenario for what it is, this could be an interesting summer for the Wild. And there's a chance he could take an offer sheet from somebody. I wonder if Fiala goes on an offer sheet somewhere. He's a goal scorer. The Wild don't have the money. This could be a pretty interesting summer up in Minneapolis in terms of what they could do with Kevin Fiala. Therefore, although extension talks with Fiala haven't begun, that doesn't automatically mean that they won't start. However, this is still a story to pay attention to moving forward, as the team will have to find a way to fit him under the cap ceiling if they want him back for at least next season. Thankfully, he will be a restricted free agent, so they at least have control over him again. But if there's offer sheets on the table, that may change that mindset a little bit, right? And the thing is, for the Wild, they don't necessarily want a bunch of first-round and second-round draft picks. They don't need that. You don't want to lose Fiala. And that is really something that Bill Garen's going to have his work cut out for him. Now, we have seen situations like up in Toronto where they do have a lot of money as well, where you give the money up front, right, in a, what is it called, a signing bonus, a very, very heavy signing bonus to Fiala. Let's say they do that on a 1 or 2 year deal, and then the cap hit lowers. So that is something that you do have to look at. If they can lower that salary cap with signing bonuses or something of that sort, that may be of interest. And that is something that, quite frankly, the Wild may not have a choice, but they may have to finagle it in some sort of way like that. So, guys, that is it for the Minnesota Wild. It's been very interesting here with Fiala. This is obviously a story I will keep you guys updated with, but definitely something we'll be watching here throughout the rest of 2022. Guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you again next time.